Good morning, Conference. Jane Begley from Exeter CLP. This is my first time at Conference and my first time as a speaker. I certainly didn't expect to come to Liverpool. To come to Liverpool and be addressing you all on such a pivotal issue. Nervous comes nowhere near to describing how I'm feeling right now. It's a great honour and a privilege to stand before you today to second this motion, a motion we worked on till midnight on Sunday evening. Such was our commitment to finding a solution. I feel passionately about being part of the European Union, and when I joined the party in 2015, my first introduction to canvassing was pounding the streets in support of Remain. The result was a crushing disappointment, even though in Exeter we achieved a 55% vote to Remain. I was disappointed, not just for myself, but for my then 15-year-old daughter, who was angry that she didn't get a vote, yet she and all her friends, the young people of this country, are the ones who will be most impacted by this result, badly impacted by this result. YouGov reported that over 70% of under-25s voted Remain. I came of age with the belief that it was the duty of each generation to improve the lot of the generations that follow them. Brexit is another example of how my generation, and this government in particular, have comprehensively screwed over our young people. When I went to university, not only was it free, but I was paid to go. My wonderful and intelligent, now 17-year-old daughter has serious doubts and may not pursue a degree because she is so put off by the prospect of acquiring a burden of debt. And I share her anger. In May, I was elected to Exeter City Council, taking a seat from the Tories. I represent a ward that contains both areas of affluence and areas of deprivation. The concerns of the doorstep about Brexit did not come from the poorest areas of the ward, and this was reflected across our country, where the poorest and most disenfranchised were those who voted most decisively to leave. I do believe it was a vote against the status quo, a vote against austerity, and a vote against David Cameron, the worst possible poster boy for the Remain campaign, who promptly turned on his heels and ran away. The shambolic way in which the Tory government have conducted their so-called negotiations have shown us all how inadequate they are to the task of sorting out the unholy mess they have created. As a second-generation Irish immigrant who was raised with the perpetual backdrop of the Troubles on the national news in the 1970s, I am offended by the cavalier carelessness they have shown towards concerns about the Irish border. The risk of a no-deal Brexit is terrifyingly imminent. What we desperately need is a general election to move the Tories aside and let us hand the task to Keir Starmer and our superb leadership team, a team that has relentlessly and consistently worked with the greatest integrity, inspiring more trust and hope than I have ever felt for any politicians. Thousands like me have become activated to do all they can to become part of the change we want to see. This has been reflected in the number of people we have heard from over the last few days who are here at conference and speaking for the first time. Whilst I personally would love for us to remain in the EU, we must take care that by committing wholeheartedly to another referendum at this stage, we do not alienate all of those people across great swathes of our nation who with sincerity voted leave. The risk is that they may then dismiss us as being just the same as all the rest and not listening to their concerns. This is why I ask you, Conference, to support this motion, a motion that does not bind but empowers our leadership to negotiate through the unpredictable times ahead. Thank you, Conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that.